First of all, fuck your bitch and the click you slam.
Okay, that's how we're starting the episode. Welcome to the idea of where we explore the noise, the nuance, and everything in between. I am Mike.
Bossy. Sorry.
And that's Tupac over there. And this is the
Yo,
space.
I just heard you're a bad boy, but I fucked your wife. Like I was trying so hard not to say that part. I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. But
Oh,
yeah.
you can't help it. And this is the space where culture, creativity, and conversation collide. And we are back. The duo, the dynamic
Yes.
nuance duo.
With my half swollen face. I didn't get a chance to listen to your episode last week because
You did or
I
did
was
not?
just I did not. I was
Okay,
just laying
okay.
around feeling sorry for myself for the entire week.
Oh no, it's all good.
Um
It's all good.
and but I saw clips that you put on TikTok, I think. I think it
Maybe.
was TikTok.
I don't
And I was
remember.
like, oh, okay, that's another thing. It was like it felt like I need to lock in. If when I listened to it, I need to lock in. And I hadn't had a chance to do that. But how do you feel about the episode?
Man, what did I talk about? I enjoyed it. Oh, I was talking about like fatherhood, like the multi kind of like generational perspective of fatherhood. Um, it was good, man. I felt really good about that episode. I had to get that out. Like I was feeling
Mm,
a little um it wasn't like worrying me, but it definitely was something that's been on my mind. And
it felt so.
yeah. And I feel like we both talked about, I know I'm a big time verbal processor. You are too, right?
Um, verbal as in talking to
Yes.
people. No,
Yes.
I'm
Like,
I'm I'm internal. I'm
oh,
internal.
you're internal. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I,
Another day we're gonna have a conversation about synesthesia, but we'll talk about that later.
excuse
Okay.
me? I thought you
You know what
sneezed.
synesthesia is?
What'd you say? I was about to say, God bless you. What?
Synesthesia, it's the
Every time you say it, it sounds more like a sneeze.
still sounds fake, right? It's just like a I don't want to call it disorder, but it's like a thing about the way you process. It's like people who like smell color and like if they see a word, it tastes like it's just like a way of processing information that is um different from the way that information is supposed to be processed.
Oh, that's what
It's
the kid had
mostly
in All Her Fault.
yes.
Oh shit. That okay.
That is what made me like, hold on a sec. And I started looking into it and I was like, oh crap, I don't need any more things. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, I assumed it was a real thing because I've heard people say like they can
Yeah.
see sounds and hear colors, that kind of thing.
Pharrell, Stevie Wonder, and Jean Baptiste are the people that I
Hmm.
know have the music. Oh, Billie Eilish have like the musical version. I'm not a musical person. I don't have the musical version. Not really, but sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. That's fascinating to me. They're definitely. I think we've talked about this before, where I get these. I always say jokingly that I am never wrong, right? And I've said that jokingly to people. They're like, "Oh, get out of here! You're full of your shit, whatever." But the reason why I say that is because until I say, like, I don't even know how to say it. There's a vibration in my body when I know things, when I know what I know,
Yeah.
right? Like when I know things are right and when I know things are, what I used to say is wrong, but it's not wrong. What I really think it is, it's unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Hmm.
something is unfair, it causes me like it's a stress that I can't overcome.
Yeah.
Like if I'm dealing in a situation, we're at a store, at a restaurant, or with some friends, or talking to people, and like someone's not being treated fairly, or if I'm not being treated fairly, it doesn't matter how right or wrong I am in that moment. If I'm not given a space to whatever, to do whatever, like I can't physically move beyond that. So a lot of times I don't, if something isn't real or right to me, I won't say it. But when I say it, it's right. And there's nothing, very little, that most people could say to change my mind. Because I know I'm
Yeah.
right. Like, what are we talking about? I know whatever the,
Yeah.
situation is, right?
I actually have the same thing where by the time I've said it, and I
Right.
even though it looks like I'm processing it in the moment, I've thought about it. It's been in my mind working itself out for longer than I've even realized. So when I say it, I've thought about it. I've thought about it. But I had the same thing. My mom used to tell me, and we'll get into like the Diddy documentary and how this is connected. But
Mhm.
my mom used to tell me when I was little, you know how kids in a store would just sort of like run off.
Mhm.
Um, she was like, I would do that, but she would always find me standing next to somebody like, being like, "Mhm, yes, absolutely." No idea what they're talking about, but I saw somebody, they're, like, talking, and the person they're talking to kinda, like, wanders off and not listening, and it was so like, it would hurt my feelings that nobody was listening to
Oh
this
my
stranger, so I would go and stand
no!
next to him and be like, "Yeah, absolutely. Whatever it is you said, I agree. I hear
Ye
you." Or laughing at somebody's joke or hearing somebody say something in, like, the background, and I know what they're saying. It's the same with listening to music. I hear the trap. I hear the stacking vocals. That's why I love Beyonce because she puts so much into the underneath of the song, and that's what I hear.
Yes.
I hear the underneath of the song. It's how I write everything. But go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh my god, that's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. But yeah, so, like, why did I bring that up? Oh, about the
Uh,
episode, talking about the episode.
yeah.
But yeah, so I just had this, like, I had a revelation on the episode that I've had a re-revelation that I am a verbal processor, right? And for me, if I don't say it out loud that I can hear, it's not real.
Hmm,
It's not true. It is not that it's not true. It's just not real to me. And
hmm,
so I've been having all of these thoughts about fatherhood and Ellington was home for Thanksgiving and preparing for him to come home now. And the holidays always stir up these feelings for me about family that I'm still, maybe that's what we were talking about before we started recording. Like something is like, it's the holidays. That's what it is. Anyway, it always stirs up these feelings about who I'm around and access to my mom and my dad and my stepdad and my family. And I'm at a crossroads with my dad right now, my real dad, and we're not really talking, and there's no real reason why, other than the fact that, like, I think he's isolated himself a little bit because he's salty, because he's mad at his kids, right? And then it got to me thinking, I isolate myself sometimes. And I'm like, fuck. But I was like, I would never like isolate myself away from my children. And
hmm.
that's some whack ass shit that he does that. And it's like, I'm not mad about it. I'm not harboring any ill feelings. If I see him, I'm not going to turn my back. Like, I still love him. So that's what the episode was about. Just like, but I had to like get it out so I could understand like where these feelings are coming from and what do I do with it? Like, am I okay just he's in his 70s. If he passes away and we don't reconcile, am I going to be okay with that? And ultimately is I think I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's
But
actually really difficult, not knowing exactly how you would feel. Like, I know that if somebody asked you about your mom, you'd be like devastated. What are you talking about? Like immediately.
right,
So
right,
that like
right.
I get that. I definitely get that.
Right, right, right. So, but yeah, it was a good episode. It was a good episode. Matter of fact, we had a comment from our number one fan, Ye Tunde.
Yay, Day. She
Uh
commented on my TikTok yesterday.
oh
Love her.
really?
Yeah,
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, her energy is just like I feel like I know her. Like I feel like we're BFFs
Maybe
for
we
real.
should have her and Kendra on to talk
We
about
should
Gen
just
X shit.
yeah,
We really
for
should. Yeah, yeah.
real, for real, for real, for real.
Yeah.
Her comment for the last episode says, "As always, you're reading my mind, Mike. Your thoughts about fatherhood, being alone, getting older are exactly what is always on my mind these days, as my husband and I have become empty nesters. This period of life brings a particular type of loneliness, so be forewarned. Haha. I have all the time in the world now, but I find myself not wanting to be bothered most of the time. That's
Mhm.
what I was saying. Though I do have friends and uh that I do hang out with once or twice a month. It's gonna be okay though, don't worry.
Oh,
That was a very
nice.
just an awesome message.
Thank you,
And then
Yetunde.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I can't remember if we read this before, but this is also from Yetunde from our last joint episode, the idea of quarter zips, and I can't remember what the title was. But she says, I've been thinking for a while that social media has flattened everything. We've lost the separation of age groups, and not everyone is yelling at each other with no nuance. This goes right in line with what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
There's no respect for the experience of older generations and no understanding slash allowance of letting kids be kids within reason. Everything is just lumped together. We've lost the plot.
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
she killed that.
Absolutely.
She killed that.
The Tundas are on the street correspondent here.
For real. For real. On the road with Yetunde, for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we gotta chat about it, huh? We gotta
We gotta
talk
talk
about it.
about it.
I do want
First,
to
before we start, oh, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
no, 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 I just want to say for our audience, right? That there's, of course, there's a million and one think pieces. There's like people kind of like giving a synopsis of the documentary. And again, Bassey and I have not talked about it for real. But I know enough about Bassey to know like we're talking about the Diddy doc, but we're not talking like, oh, and then he said this, and then it's bigger than that. Like this to me is a pivotal reflection of the generations,
Hmm.
of the culture, and really exactly what we created this podcast for.
Right,
Right? Like we're
right,
talking about nuance, we're talking about like the things that the younger folks talk about now, like we lived it and experienced it in a much different way. So we just wanted to like shine some light, perspective, and just talk about it from that perspective.
right. I think that uh, there are plenty of places that are like recapping it and like
Recap. Yeah, we
giving
don't
you
want to
like
recap.
point by
Yeah.
point, this, that, and the other thing. Like if you watched it, you watched it. There's some people I almost didn't watch it, and we'll go into why as we talk. But um, yeah, there are plenty of people who are actually recapping it, and I think that the more important conversation for us to have is from the perspective of we were there, we were outside. There's a way that we need to talk about it and contextualize it that cannot be done by uh, watching the documentary, using your present day understanding of things, and then going back and applying that. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. But before
Yeah.
we start, I want to show
Yeah.
off my T-shirt. I
Oh,
don't know
I
if you can see
noticed it.
it.
I was gonna hype it.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a stack of tapes. So it's got TLC, Drew Hill, Jodeci Forever My Lady, Lauren, Genuine. Is that Genuine? Oh, it is Genuine.
Wow. Wow.
SUV, WV, Aaliyah, Tony Braxton, and Usher, all from the same year, like 95, 96,
Whew.
I want to say. I got this at the thrift store.
What? Oh, I thought it was your
At the
brothers.
thrift
I
store.
was about to shout out your brothers.
Well, we're about to steal it though. We're about to steal it. But I
For
got this at the
sure.
thrift store. Oh, absolutely. Every year, yeah, we're about to steal it. But like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love this
That
T-shirt.
is that is dope. That's a thrift store find? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a stack of tapes, like cassette tapes. Crazy,
Oh, that's dope.
crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So how do we want to start it? I mean, we have a doc. We actually created, or Bossy, I will say, created an actual outline. You know, this is foreign to us because we don't do rules here.
We're
But
actually
no,
not going to
like,
follow it though. We already know that.
yeah, of course. But I mean, I think both of us think it's that important to, we don't want to be hopping around like we normally do, even though we probably still will on some level. But we
Absolutely.
did want to like give, just a really, again, a nuanced perspective of this all.
Yeah.
Um, so start us off, Bossy. Where should we start?
Starting off, like I said, I wasn't gonna watch. I wasn't
Hmm.
gonna watch. I have, and we talked about this very early. I have a very visceral, like physical response to things, and this is gonna, I'm gonna say it, then I'm gonna qualify it. I don't like watching people go through things, especially when I know not only who they are, but who they tried to be. And
Mm,
there's something really unsettling about it. And it just felt and think about like all the people that are affected on all ends and just how complicated it was. It just like every time I saw I'd go to turn it on Netflix, and every time I saw it, my heart would sink and like my stomach, I'd get nauseous, but not
Yeah.
because of the reason like people would say that, but it's just like it feels bad to watch this play out. It feels bad to know that we were outside during that time and all of this was going on, and this person that we at one time, Gen X or Gen Z, like, relax. Oh, nobody ever liked Diddy. Shut up. Like,
Shit, you
I
got your
wasn't a
damn
fan. Like,
mind.
I didn't like him as a person because I was like
Yeah.
always in the videos and he had no talent and but I can't lie and say that there wasn't a bad boy era, that he didn't usher in shiny suits, he didn't usher in the bling era. Like, this man was, he had his hand in shaping culture. That is undeniable. That is
Without a doubt.
undeniable. But to see that, and I don't like seeing people fall. I take no glee or in anybody. Like, I get very stressed out about other people's legacies. Like, how would you do any of this to destroy the history that you made? All of,
Mm,
mostly men, but like anybody. Like, why would you do that? Now we can't look at you or think about you the way that you were meant to be looked at and thought about. And that just makes
yeah.
me really, really sad. Like, it really, really breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Not to devalue or to put aside like the crimes, but it's just like, look what you fucking did. Like,
Look
how
what you
how would you do
did.
that? How would you do that? Why would you do that? Not only to yourself, but now you've tainted our memories. You've tainted our understanding of the time that we were in, because now we can't look at that and experience that without thinking about all that you did, Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so yeah.
yeah, I mean, it can't be understated enough. If you were outside in from 92, 93, when Jodeci came out, when Biggie first came out, to 99, not even from 92 to '02, let's say that
Mhm.
10-year range, there was nobody more influential than Diddy. Nobody. There's not a
Yeah.
one in the black culture, in hip hop, whether you like it or not. And they give him the, the credit or lack thereof of the shiny suits and dancing in the videos, but he might have did it, but then everybody else did it after him.
Yeah.
Everybody was dancing in the video. Everybody was in the camera. The fisheye
Yeah.
lens
I was about to
became
say the fisheye lens.
a
Yeah.
thing,
The- yeah.
from him, and you could think of countless videos in the 90s that had that aesthetic, had the shiny, jewel, glittery, Vaseline looking, baby oil looking, aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I said this in the TikTok post that I posted, but like, for in the 90s, if you are a black boy, man, young man in that time frame, I couldn't think of three positive images in pop culture. And when I say positive, I mean there were, there was Urkel, he wasn't negative, but like he didn't represent what everybody looked like and sounded like and felt like. And there was Carlton Banks. And there were like extremes. There were like
There's
always these
Theo.
Theo, of course, of course, of
Theo
course, of
Huxtable.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Theo. Absolutely. But I even think with Theo, like the Cosby Show ended in probably like 95, 96. No, before that. It ended before I went
90,
to college.
93, 92, 93.
93.
Yeah.
93, right? So if you think about what we were seeing, there was something about Diddy that captured the essence of like the hood and the business office and like professional, like, oh, this is how you're supposed to be in the office, like a demanding, like, get it done now because I said so, like that was like, oh shit, yeah, tell him, black man. Like, that's how I viewed Diddy at times during that 10-year range. It's like, wow, he
But even
yells
even
at
beyond
people and
that,
tells people what to do. Like, wow, that's awesome. You know what I'm
but
saying?
even beyond that, he was, and I was about to push back on what you said until I really processed it. He was also offered to us as a college kid. Like, he went to college and he was like, he was smart
Absolutely.
and cool, which was, to your point. Urkel was smart, but he was famously uncool until Stefan Urkel showed up.
Right.
Uh, but he was very much the blueprint for what was possible for a
Mhm.
lot of people around that time, specifically men. But like you could be very smart, go to Howard, Black excellence, and then use
Yeah.
that and transfer that into the music industry, which was fucking huge. It was the coolest thing to be in music because I think that in the 90s, now that I'm thinking about it, that era, um, it was after hip hop was a baby, and it just started to like mature during that time when
Mhm.
people, it wasn't like a niche thing, it wasn't like underground, it was starting to get very, very popular, and he was right in the thick of it. He was part
Right in
of
the thick.
ushering it from this thing that happened on BET to something that was much more um universal and much
Yeah.
more mainstream.
And I always likened um Puffy's character in the
Mm,
videos. Like literally, I forever like think of the Hypnotized video where
hmm.
Big's in the suit, in the white suit, and he's like that, and like Puffy is literally dancing around him.
In the same
You know what I'm
outfit.
saying? And they're like, and like I always likened that to Flavor Flav
Mm,
and Public Enemy, right? And if there's history of Chuck D talking about how important Flavor Flav was
right,
to keeping the aesthetic light and kind of being an intentional Sambo to like draw in the people to
mm,
hear the medicine and the message, right?
right,
And
right,
so I kind of thought Diddy was doing the same thing, like being not, I didn't see him like as a clown. I just
right.
saw him as like a overzealous hype man.
Hmm.
Like your boy, like when you rapping and you're freestyling in a cipher, and there's like the
Right.
one dude is like, yeah, son, yeah. Like
Right,
that's kind of
right,
like and so it was like, yeah, that's hip hop. Like that's how it is. Like that's how you do it. Like,
right,
you freestyling and your boy's hitting you in the chest and shaking your hat, you know what I'm saying?
right.
And that was cool. And that was cool to me. That was like the dichotomy of like he took the train from
Hmm.
DC to New York every
Yeah,
day for
yeah,
whatever lie they made for an internship so he could just be under the tutelage of Andre Harrell. Wow, how inspiring. I want to take the train and go, to a Jodeci video or, whatever it was. So and because there was no internet, there was no social media, whatever they sold us in those
oh,
magazines,
absolutely.
if it was on the Vibe cover, if it was on MTV,
Yeah,
Carson Daly, BET, whatever it
yeah,
was, like that shit was it. Right? Like that's what we
yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah,
So it just became more and more stamped that this is the way you do it. Like he was literally laying down what we thought was a blueprint. This is what you do. This is how you
yeah,
do it. You yell
yeah.
at people, you kind of belittle them a little bit in love to make the project good, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, I have to make you sweat a little bit because we're all about excellence here, babe. Remember you Black excellence? Like that was so
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was
It
insidious a little bit knowing what was
you
going on
have to
behind the scenes.
sacrifice some things to get what you want, and this is what you get when you sacrifice. When you have to take the train after class, you get your own label. Like you become in charge of some of the coolest shit in the world. And then something that I also forgot, two things that I forgot, because of his relationship with Misa, he was responsible for the fashion. Like everything we wore
Yeah.
during that time
Yeah.
was because of this woman who was also connected to this man. Like you
hmm
cannot understate how important, or the cultural impact this man had on us to this day. Like to this day, everything that
Yeah.
people like now on TikTok, what they consider the 90s, comes from the bad boy era, comes from
Yeah.
that time. You cannot separate it because it is infused and it's entwined. But I wanted to ask you something that I actually forgot. What was your first impression? Like when did Sean Combs become part of like your personal zeitgeist? Like when did he enter your
It had to be 94. I feel like it was my senior year in high school. Definitely imprinted in college, but if I had to think about the first time, I think it was Juicy. Like when Big dropped Juicy.
oh
And I'm trying to think if there was an image before that that I can have, but the image I keep on seeing is Mase, the shiny suits, the dancing in the videos, and Biggie. Like those were the formidable moments. Why? When was it for you?
so I remember him dancing in the background of Father MC's video. I remember that. But that's what I thought was like my first, like that's the first time I saw him. But what it reminded me was I remember when the basketball trampling event happened. Like I remember that. And
I
I
remember that
remember
for sure.
he was
Yeah,
on Geraldo. He was on Geraldo, like talking about it, like,
that's crazy.
Sean Combs, and it was him and like a bunch of people, and he was like trying to like, I can't remember who else was there, but I
Yeah.
forgot that that's the first time I heard the name Sean Combs. That's the first time I attached the name to the person, and then attached
Mm,
that person to, oh, that was the dude that was dancing in the Father MC video. But the first,
hmm
the documentary reminded me when I saw like the footage, which 50 how much money does 50 Cent have? Because the amount of footage
Right.
he got that
Where did he get
never
that shit
before
from?
seen before footage when we thought we had
Right.
seen everything. But seeing that, I was
Right.
like, oh, that's the first time that I ever was encountered him. And then a couple of years later, and
Yeah.
then also the Uptown Unplugged too.
Oh, that might be the first
Yeah.
time. The MTV Unplugged. Yo,
Yeah.
see, that's another thing too. That was so dope. Like that album first is just ridiculous. And you know what else? Another image that is sticking with me right now as of the first time, jeans. Like the the aesthetic of jeans and black boots is
That's what I'm talking
all
about.
Diddy. Like
Yes.
do you remember jean suits?
Yes.
Like
Denim,
full
yes.
like the denim, the dark denim
Denim
and the
vest,
boot,
tie,
the
huge
denim.
white shirt.
What? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
With the jeans tucked in the boots a little bit. That,
Hmm.
and I know for a fact that that's 1992,
Hmm.
93, 92, 93, because I just moved to Mount Vernon High School in Alexandria, and that was like all the thing. And I begged my mom, please, can I get some black high top boots? And there was a brand. Again, this is just moving to DC, to the DC area, and all the niggas in DC was wearing these black boots. Do you remember the name of the black boots? I
They
can't
were the
remember.
ones with the platforms. There were a couple of them. They're not
They were like
Not Doc Martens. Doc Martens were the
not docs
punk ones, but I
with
know what you're
the
talking about.
emos.
I know what you're
The
talking about.
Protect, something like that. Tech
I
Pro,
remember what you're
but they
talking about.
were high top black boots. They had like a little heel, but not. But they were like a military style boot. But it was a specific brand, and that was all Diddy with the jean suits,
Hmm.
the baggy hats. He had the
The
baggy like,
oversized baseball shirts.
yo, come on, come
Hmm.
on. We can't. And, and and part of what was, as I was thinking through, the documentary and like going back to that time, like those are the what is it? Formidable? Is that the
Formidable.
right word?
Hmm.
The formidable years of our
Formative. Yeah,
formative
formative.
years of our adolescence, young adulthood. These types of, like when you were saying it makes you sad to see these downfalls. Yes, the men are downfalling. All the people that they've hurt are down bad. And also like our memories get crumpled up in there
Yeah.
somewhere, right? Like
Yeah.
our aspects of who we are as people get lost in, you know, in this, this takedown. So it's just not as easy as like, get Diddy out of here. You know what I mean?
It's not. It's not. And I get the level of resentful I'm capable of. I get resentful at the fact that how are you not considering this? And of course, in the moment you're not considering it. You think that you're all powerful. It's always going to be like that. But then that's part of it too, because once his popularity started waning, he pivoted, making the band. Like he made sure that he was always part of culture in some way, shape, or
Mm,
form. And he was. It's only the last couple of years where people are like weird about him because he was the old man in the club after a certain point, and he
yeah.
and I think that what's happening now only happened because he's the old man of the club now. It's not possible for it to happen any earlier, despite what people say. Y'all should have band together and got rid of Thanos. Okay, relax. It's not a Marvel movie. That's not possible. He was New
Right.
York economy. Like he ran things. He was a gatekeeper. He had all sorts of people on his side. And we're all over the place, but let's just dead this right now. It was impossible. Everybody who watched the documentary got more information from the information they thought they already had. It reminded me
Right.
of The Battle, where people are like, oh, Kendrick isn't saying anything new. It's like, yeah, but he's saying it all at once. Like we knew
Hmm.
bits and pieces, but now we're seeing it laid out all at once. So there's stuff that I didn't know, or I did know, but I didn't know that how it came about, or I didn't know what the meaning of it was. Like I didn't have context, and we didn't have context because we weren't constantly talking to each other about this stuff. It wasn't like I've got
Hmm.
a piece and you've got a piece, and we're all online putting the pieces together. It's like I know some shit because my friend told me because he went to a party in Brooklyn. And I'm like, oh, that's some crazy shit. And then somebody else went to a different party, walked into a different room, saw some other stuff, but we don't know that person. So we just think that this is an isolated thing. I guess every once in a while he does this weird shit, not knowing that it's a pattern. Because how would we know it was a pattern? We didn't have any
Right.
any way to cross reference shit. It was just some like weirdo. Let's move on.
Right. Right. And I did want to add in, Bossy, or get your perspective. Like I feel like at a certain time, you were in New York. You were probably like less
In his
than one
circle, in his
degree.
orbit. Yeah,
Yeah, separate
I
one
met
degree
him
of separation
twice.
away. So tell us about that. Like what, like I feel like being from New York, like I was still like a hand's distance away, but you could feel his energy when
Yeah, I
you
was
were
in
in the
the
city. Like you could, yeah. So what
I was
what
in
was
the
like that?
industry. So when I first moved to New York, I I think I've told this story before, but I started working at this media company called Urban Box Office. And
Oh
Urban
yeah, yeah,
Box
yeah.
Office
Uh-huh.
was just like it's like all urban media. Like that's how I met like uh everybody. Like they all worked for this company, like because they acquired like Honey and they acquired, and it was
Mm,
the they acquired all this stuff. So all of the Elliot Wilsons. I worked with Elliot Wilson's wife, Danielle Smith, before she went to Vibe. I worked with uh Theo Hodori Coker and like all these
mm.
different people. Like I mean I was, little entry level, but I was around them. So
You were
I
there.
remember when the nightclub shooting happened and
Mm.
Jennifer Lopez and Puffy disappeared. Like they were out of the public eye. They were like laying low, whatever. And this was before you probably don't remember, but in New York, there was a website called Gawker that existed until a couple of years ago. But they had a thing called Gawker Stalker, which was when you saw a famous person, you're like, I just saw so and so in Har in in the meatpacking district at Serafina or whatever. Like, and it was like this
Uh-huh.
weird. It was weird. Gawker Stalker was right because you were stalking these people, and they would like list it. But there's like, there are all these reports like we haven't seen. Where are they? You don't know where they are. Where are they? Where are they? They came to the office in the middle of all of that, J Lo and Diddy together, and they were just walking around the office. My boss was George Jackson, rest in peace. He was a music. He
Mm.
produced New Jack City. He produced
Oh wow.
Paid in Full, I think, and he produced
Mm.
what's that Russell Simmons movie? It was a
Russell Simmons. Oh,
movie.
like
Blair Underwood,
Cold Groove. I mean,
Crush Groove.
Cold Crush.
No, not Cold. Crush Groove was a group, right? So old.
Oh, the breakdance movie that came out when Breaking 2 and 1 came out. Dang it, I could see the
I can see it.
advertisement.
Blair Underwood was in it. That's who I remember. But
Cold Crush. I don't know. Whatever.
the
Okay,
Cold
I know
Crush,
what you're talking about.
it'll come. Um, but yeah, that's who George Jackson was. So he, was in the mist. And I remember Jennifer Lopez walking to the office. She was really, really short. Like she was my height, and I thought she was taller. And Diddy is also pretty short. And he was like
Uh-huh.
walking around the office, like, "Ah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. How are you doing? Like, what are you guys working on?" Type shit. And I was like, oh, like, starstruck because it's J Lo and
Right.
Diddy in
It's
the
Diddy.
office.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
I'm very
Right.
rarely starstruck, but without a context, I get confused. Like, what are you doing here? Like, why aren't you on my television?
Right.
Like, why? What
Right.
are you doing here? So there's that. And then
Right.
a couple of years later, he used to have a restaurant called Justin's in Manhattan,
I remember
and
Justin's. Yep.
I
I remember
was
Justin's.
asked to perform there for some reason, but it was one of my first kind of paid gigs, and I was
Uh-huh.
there in the middle of like I think somebody else's like set. There's like a okay, there's Diddy's here,
Mm-hmm.
Puffy's here, Puffy's here, Puffy's here.
Uh-huh.
And he was there. He mm, I don't say greeted, but he was like acknowledged, the poets and I might be tripping, but I feel like he was like to me, not like, you're next, but like recognizing the fact that a couple of years ago I spoke to him. I don't know. I don't know because there's like a moment of like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he moved on. So I've been in his orbit, but I've also heard things about him because of that. I'd also been told
Mm.
without, little innocent Bassey, they're like, do not go to any of his parties. None of them. It doesn't matter who's throwing it or
Mm.
where it's or why it's thrown, actually. Doesn't matter why it's being thrown, doesn't matter where it's being thrown. If his name's attached to it, you don't go. And I was like, cool, because I'm not a partier. I wasn't like, I gotta be in the middle of it. That wasn't me. But all of these things were circulating about him. And it was just rumors. It was enough for, and this is the thing that people need to understand. He was the nigga dancing in the videos. Like he was just upbeat, like
Yeah.
partying guy as far as like
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
fun. So
Party guy.
people won't believe you not because they think you're lying. It's like that dude, harmless. Like what? He's skinny little, like
Right. Right.
dancing around
Right.
Biggie. What?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that was the impression that people would have unless they encountered. There was a couple of like, oh, he's got a bad temper type shit, but people are like, he's like 5 feet tall. Like, what is he gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when Wendy Williams started saying stuff, or Wendy Williams, that's when we're like, that's when stuff, but she looked crazy too. You know what I mean? Like there was all sorts of reasons
Yeah. Yeah.
not to put all
Yes.
this together and think that this was the outcome of all the things that he was doing.
Yeah, I can't help but think about the docket you put together. There's this quote or this it is fascinating and exactly what you described is uh bad boy culture and masculinity and black cool
Mhm,
and chaos disguised as brilliance.
mhm,
Black masculinity demanded composure, emotional expression was punished. Diddy competed with men whose charisma was natural,
mhm.
Biggie and Pac. And that, to me,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what made him popular for those black kids like me that were in college.
Mhm,
Because we saw Biggie and Pac, and we saw NWA and Eazy-E and them, and we saw Wu-Tang, Nas, Jay was bubbling, we saw, and their image was what we know it to be. It was big baggy clothes, it was guns, it was smoke, it was like, it was the hood, the street. And that was cool. Like we danced that but Diddy was that and where we were, which was in college.
mhm.
Like he was that, all of that stuff, and also the shrewd businessman who's gonna get things done, who demands excellence. So like that chaos disguised as brilliance is really what he started Bad Boy on,
Yeah.
right? Like there was
Yeah.
always so much chaos around. Well, we can look back on it now and know it was chaos, right? But at the time, it just looked like hip hop. It just looked like the street.
Yeah.
It looked like unplanned. You know, we just growing by the seat of our pants and making it fresh.
Yeah.
Everything we
Yeah.
do is fresh, you know? Um, but in reality, he really was like sucking the life figuratively out of his artists,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
mean, we all heard the
Yeah, go
stories
ahead.
of how he just somehow we all felt like somehow, how does he always get all the masters to his artists? How does he get away with not paying his artists? And just like having no concept of like no idea that what's happening in the background's happening in the background, because that's not who we
Yeah.
associate. I also think that we were so hell bent on making sure that people didn't think that hip hop was associated with violence and this and that and the other thing, so that when some violence was associated, we're thinking we didn't
Yes.
want to, you know what I mean? Like NWA, they were gangsters, they were killing people. Sean? Nah,
Right.
like he's just got to be
Not
really
him.
smart. He's super smart. That's how he was able
Right.
to like finagle this and that out of his
Right.
artist. That's how he was able to like walk out of the storm or walk out of the chaos completely untouched, because clearly these people weren't handling their
He's a
business the way they're supposed
businessman.
to.
He's a businessman. Come
They weren't
on.
handling
What's the
their business
problem?
very clearly. If I was signed to Bad Boy, I would make sure as though all those people were stupid and had no like, oh,
Right.
because what people like. But he also did present the idea, and I think Babs said this when she was there, like he did present the you'll get it on the back end. That
Yeah.
was a lot of what people were
Yeah.
saying. He had this like, oh no no no, what I'm giving you is more important. Like your connection to me is going to open so many more doors than you signing this paper, or you taking this like this little $50,000 and then like royalties. What are royalties at the, you know
Like
what I mean?
you
Like
don't need that. Right.
royalties.
Yo, speaking of that, did Diddy usher in, maybe not solo, but is he responsible for our overindulgence of fame?
Yes.
And like what, like is it him singularly? I mean, not singularly, I'm speaking hyperbolically, but like he is the ringleader of making fame be the reward.
The currency.
He
He
has to be
trafficked.
the one.
He was
The
the treasurer, the treasury secretary of peddling black cool as currency. That's what he
Yeah.
did. That's who he was. One of the things that I remember from back then, because I was, little Hotep princess, like Lauren was my Lord and Savior. Um, I
Uh-huh.
remember being not liking him because he ushered in. I mean, it wasn't called the bling era there, but like people went from talking about their Adidas and like their Levi's to like Versace wear, like this huge brand stuff
Yeah.
that wasn't happening before. People weren't talking about like these huge designers in the very specific designer way. They were over there with Dapper Dan taking Gucci and turning it into some street
Right.
shit, not just taking Gucci. And
Right.
that's what he kind of
Right.
ushered in. That's when hip hop stopped being about what was accessible and started being inaccessible and
Yeah.
what's that word? Exclusive. And
Yeah.
you wanted to be
Yeah.
part of that exclusivity. You want to be part of that elite group of the Versace wear, for my missus. Like you wanted to be that. You didn't want to be Adidas.
Whew.
What is Adidas? Like
Yes.
what? Compared
Oh my God.
to Louis? Like what? And it's not like people
Right.
didn't like designer, but it was still always this is how we make it ours. Not this is just how we make it.
Yeah.
will wear it differently,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah, yeah.
still just exactly the design. He did that. That's because of him.
He did that.
Yeah,
And you know what else he did too? And I know we said do let's make a decision right now. Are we gonna extend this out over another episode? We are,
I think
right?
the
We're gonna do
yeah, it might be
another.
2 or 3 episodes actually, because it's a lot. But yeah, 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 definitely.
It's so much. But and we could I feel like these are also evergreen topics
Yeah.
because beyond the documentary, like there's still so much that he gave the culture. And I want to make sure that our listeners know like the things that we're talking about, th- these are it's not they're like indisputable. Like you it's not like you had to be there, but we were there.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as much um like the good and bad of Puffy back then. It was all like, look at what he's contributing
It was a
to the
means
hip
to an
hop
end.
culture.
Everything was a means to an end. Everything is what we thought at the time.
Everything.
Yeah.
A- And what we haven't even talked about yet, which I think is, reflective of the situation, is the music. Like that music, that soundtrack, whether you fucked with him or not, I can't like when I think of Diddy, I think of like I said, like a nigga tiptoeing on the dance floor, but also like that sound, that din, 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 and the Mase and like and what Mase did on his album. Um, I think of the Harlem Shake. I think of like all of that shit is Diddy. To this
That's Diddy.
day, it
Niggas are
still
still Harlem
has an
shaking to
impact.
this
If you
day.
turn on to this moment, right? And the last thing I think this will be a great conversation to talk about with Kendra. Um,
Kendra, by
but
the way, if you're
the
listening, we've already, I'll call you later. We've alregy agreed to this episode. Yeah.
you'll be here next week. We'll have you in next week. You remember you were in New York, so I think I know this was the same in New York, but the whole idea of the big club, like the in the early 2000s, the Dream nightclub, the Love nightclub, the Zanzibars, all that, like that is a direct line from those parties that
Mhm.
people said they didn't want to go to, the aesthetic, the white cloth billowing on the dance floor, like the big lights, the DJ up on the thing, like
The
that's
VIP
a Diddy
section,
party.
the VIP section.
Oh, the
Everybody wanted to be in the
bottle
VIP section.
girls,
Yeah.
the right, right. So it's like at every turn there was a byproduct of the bad boy era that we were engulfed in. Like if you listen to the radio, whoever was producing, whoever was the artist, it was all an arm from Diddy, an
Mhm,
arm's length from Diddy.
mhm. And
That's
also what the documentary like sort of shine light on was that these weren't all his ideas. He just became the face of them, or he took them, or he nudged the person whose idea it was out of the way. So let's whatever. But I also think that he was a product of his time as well, because it was after him
mm-hmm.
that producers became just as famous as artists. He wanted to be famous, and he wasn't content with being a producer, because at that time, producer we did I know any producer? Quincy Jones, I think, is the only producer's name that I can remember knowing ever, because we
Right.
didn't know who producers were. We got It was the artist,
Mm-mm.
and I think that because he wanted to be um, the face of things, he did all this wild shit. But I think that had he showed up like maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years later, not a lot, but like as far as him, well, no, no, I'm not even gonna say that, because he really liked being in front. Or he really liked dancing in the videos. He really wanted to be the artist, and he wanted. And I think that something that I put in the docket and that I was thinking about watching is that he was jealous of people who had natural charisma and natural talent, because it was something that he had to manufacture. Watching the first couple or the first episode, and like hearing about stuff that I knew about his dad, I knew all of that stuff. But as a parent, I was like, why do you know this much about your dad? Like, why do you know enough about him back then to craft an image of
Mm,
him that influenced you well into your adulthood? And I think it's because his mom romanticized his father. He dressed him like his dad, like all those little suits and like that. He looked like a little
yeah.
gangster boy. He looked like part of Frank Lucas's crew, like his dad. And I think all of that sort of warped his understanding of who it is he actually was. Because I don't think he ever actually had a chance, not blaming his mom, not blaming the women, but she was a weirdo. I'm sorry, she was weird. He never had, and I'll say, and also because I believe that he is a textbook sociopath. And sociopaths are unable to form identities. They take identities. And so from a very early age, because you could see it in his
Mm.
eyes were not okay. Um, from a very early age, he could what what happened? What happened?
I almost spit out my juice. You say you can see it in his eyes. You
You
said you can see
could.
it in his eyes.
You could pull up a picture of him right now. He's got like his eyes
Yo,
are
that that was the most Nigerian thing you've ever said. You could see it in his eyes.
it's in his
In his
face.
eyes, you could
I
see
can
it.
see his fatherhood in his face. I have the
Woo,
worst
that
Nigerian
was
accent. Please don't judge me
funny.
on it.
Cake.
My Nigerian, but
Oh
you
snap.
saw it. Like he never forged an identity. All his identity was built on the people around him or what he thought he was supposed to do. What is his actual personality? Like who knows? He's a sociopath, I believe.
Mm.
But even the stuff that they were talking about that
I
he
want to
went
say,
through in
can I?
school, stuff like that.
No,
But
no,
no, no,
no. I was just gonna say, I want to shoot. It's like I want to shoot his mom some bail because
no. But
what
okay,
I saw in those, what I saw in those pictures, and like I know there's a bunch of weird stories about him and his mom, and he slapped his mom. I don't know. Those were the parts of the story that seemed the most contrived to me. Um, but what I saw with him and his mom's relationship was what I saw in a lot of single mothers in the hood, especially in New York.
during that
Like
time,
I
yeah.
saw, yeah, during that time in the 70s, all the kids dressed like little preacher men, little deacons on the street. Like
Mm.
I have tons of pictures of me wearing three-piece suits for no fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no reason for me to have a three-piece suit on. But my mom always says it was like so important in New York for people to know that the kids were being so well taken care
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they put them in suits, especially if you're from Caribbean backgrounds, African back, like they wanted
Fair,
their
yeah.
kids to always have,
Be respected.
Vaseline face,
Yeah.
hair in a certain way, like you had to be. So what I saw from those pictures, I was like, oh yeah, that tracks. You know what I'm saying? And even like the overprotection from his mom, like that is it seemed really familiar to me. It seemed
Mhm.
like that is how in the 70s black kids were treated in the city. You were overprotective, you tried to you tried to keep them away from the neighborhood. Now, I didn't know that his dad was like that much of a gangster, right? As a matter of
Yeah.
fact,
American
do you know the
Gangster.
author? He's a journal. No, 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 the journalist Justin Tinsley. Does that name sound
Mhm,
familiar?
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's like a friend, a close friend of a friend, like my boy Brad, who listens to the podcast. He grew up with Justin. Justin is a writer and a broadcaster for ESPN. Super dope, like super talented. Like he's the next one. Like he's out of here. But I saw tweeted yesterday an old story from one of his friends that was a writer on Vibe. I gotta find it. But she wrote in like 2011 a story about Puffy's dad and like his influence in Harlem. And I didn't now that part I did not know. I didn't know that he was like 2 steps away from all the drug stuff happening in
Well,
Harlem
he
at that
worked
time, and
for
he was
Frank
a big
Lucas.
deal. So right, I didn't know that. How did I miss
Mhm.
that? So that
Me
part I
neither.
completely missed. Like I did not know that at all. Um, but yeah, so seeing all of that, like knowing where he was from, and like knowing the specific, even if it's a stereotype of Harlem, that Harlem flash, that Harlem swag, that was
Malcolm.
Diddy. So all of that stuff that yeah, it was just like, saying like that sly, slick talk gangster shit, but still, on some hood politics, businessman shit. Everybody I know from Harlem at that time was like that.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'll,
You know what I'm
I'll I'll
saying?
give you that.
So
I'll
it's kind of
give you
like
that.
I don't.
But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
one thing I will say, something that I can stand firm on, and this is not revisionist for me. I always thought his relationship with his mom was weird. And weird not in any way that I can attach to now, but like I remember his mom used to be at the parties and she had this blonde wig and he was always buying her things. And not to say that that's weird, but there was something weird. It felt weird on some level. And I'm probably being judgmental, but it was the wig. It was the blonde wig at that time. People were I don't know. It was there. I remember being very clear about the fact that this is what's going on here. Not in any like salacious way, but just like, that's your mama? Like, what's going on here? That's it.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say.
yeah.
But she had sex parties that he was at.
Like, is that true? Like, I'm
Yes,
not even like,
it's
what
true.
is that real?
The documentary is
Okay.
not the first time I heard that. The documentary is not the first time I saw that. Like there are certain things that I was like, okay, I heard that before. That's one of those things that I heard before. And then there was a clip where he was on a talk show and she was like listing all the
What does
jobs she
that
had.
mean, sex parties?
People were
What
having
is that?
sex at parties that she threw. And her 4 year. Oh, another thing, another reason why I'm not able to shoot her bail as much. Did you know that Diddy has a little sister?
No, never.
Yes.
Not at
He
all.
has a,
Never heard that
doesn't
in
he
my
give
life.
only child? He's got a younger sister from his mom and his dad.
No, not
Yes.
possible.
Yes. Her name is Keisha. I Googled it the other day because I was like, does Diddy have siblings? Because I just wanted
Keisha.
to know. Because I wanted to know if his mom ever remarried, and it just popped. No, da 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 da. He's got his only sibling is his sister Keisha. I was like, Keisha, who the fuck is Keisha? But like, he's got a younger
Ke-
sister, Keisha Combs. I
I've
had no idea,
never ever heard that, not
and
once
that
in
to
my
me
whole
is
life.
it's
Where is
strange. You
she?
never heard it? I don't know. She's out there though. She's there. I think she takes care of the kids. I think she's in their lives. She's in their lives. We just never heard of her because it's like his mom only has one child, Diddy. There was something else
And
that I
even
wanted.
with that, even with
Mm,
even with that, that kind of tracks too. Like how moms be treating their sons,
yeah.
sometimes. I think that is, stereotypically on some level. I just don't like, I don't know. Of course, all the things that Diddy became is a collective result of everything, right? Is a collective
Hmm.
result of his upbringing, of, his dad being there, not being there, his community, his hood, the people he was around.
The
I
sociopathic
just wonder,
energy.
and this yeah, like I just wonder like how much what I gathered from the documentary really made me think about like the people that we hold close to us, like the people that are in our circle. And so many people over the course of 30 years like saw this and either normalized it or were benefiting from it,
Hmm.
right? So they were like kept it cool. And it was so normalized that it just was what it was. And it didn't I guess it did raise some flags for folks, but I don't know. I think it's so easy to look back over someone's life after they fucked up to be like, oh, this it's the mom's fault. It's because of this. It's his dad. It's his friend. It's when, of course, there's responsibility. I don't get mentally. I don't get a mental health condition from Diddy.
I think he's a
Do
narcissist,
you?
and
Like,
that's
I don't get like
sociopathic.
he's like,
Absolutely.
oh,
Absolutely. Everything I've always suspected it,
mm,
but that documentary confirmed to me that this man is a sociopath. He his narcissism is off the charts, but beyond narcissism, like true narcissism, he is sorry, Alawe's calling me. Sorry.
you think it? We could
Uh
pause it.
okay, yeah, let's pause it.
Okay.
Hello?
All right, we are back. All right, what were you saying, Bossy? You were saying not. Oh, sociopath.
Yeah,
Right?
I definitely
I
think he's a
literally just looked up what a sociopath is.
okay, read what it is and tell the people I'm right.
No, you're absolutely right. A sociopath or someone with antisocial personality disorder. See, I didn't learn about sociopath like this. Anyway, exhibits a persistent disregard for others' rights, a lack of empathy, manipulativeness, deceitfulness, impulsivity, and little to no remorse, often leading to antisocial or criminal behavior, though they can sometimes mimic normal social interactions by masking their traits. It's a clinical term for a pattern of behavior. That's what I learned. Not an official diagnosis separate from ASPD, and involves failing to distinguish right from wrong and violating social norms.
Mhm. Textbook.
Yep.
Textbook. I am the mental illness whisperer. I'm always right about that. But no, yeah. He's
really
definitely a sociopath. He's definitely a sociopath. Um, and I think that part of, and I'm gonna shoot bail in a way that I'm gonna qualify. I think part of the issue when it comes to antisocial and sociopathic and narcissistic and this and the other thing is that the reflex is to shun, which is understandable, but then you allow the person to play a victim that's being persecuted. So if you acknowledge that this person has a sociopathic personality disorder, you're forced or you're forcing that person to know that he's not fooling anybody. Right now, he's still fooling some people. Right now, the mask still exists. That fucking juror,
Oh
she
my
was
god.
bewitched by the narcissist. Like that is a prime example when people are like, oh, that's a prime example. She was mesmerized by this nigga. That's what narcissists are really are. Narcissists isn't your boyfriend cheating on you. Like this is some real documented definition textbook narcissism and antisocial social personality disorder. The fact that she was the way that she was talking about it, that's what they do. That's the manipulation. That's the emotional and mental ability to do that by not even speaking. He was just looking at her. That's that shit I'm talking about. That's some real shit. That's not the shit that they you have to
Yeah.
force them to see nobody is fooling. Oh my God, sorry, I'm all over the place. The way that they were sending out notes to TikTokers and podcasters with what they wanted them to get out of the proceedings that day. That is grade A textbook. The stuff that he was trying to get his son to do, grade A textbook. That's how he manipulates him or people. That's why he still has people on his side. Not because Gen Z, not because Gen X is just so delinquent and degenerate that we just don't care about. It's the mask of narcissism and sociopathy. That's what it does. That's what it does. It gives enough plausible deniability so that you look at the crazy one when you say something. Imagine us saying all of this in 1999.
Yo.
Imagine me walking around saying, "Yo, Sean Combs in 20 years." Like you sound like a fucking loon because people are like,
Right.
"What are you talking about?
And he
What
probably
are you
would have had you
talking about?"
killed too.
Nobody. Oh, let's talk about that. I saw this clip of Mase. Have you seen the clip of Mase where he's like, something happens a couple of years ago, and he was like going back and forth, but like he's talking to his like, oh, you want receipts? The receipts in your mother's name. Ask Big, he can't give receipts because he's dead. Ask Heavy D, he can't because he's dead. And he started listing like all the people were dead. I was like, niggas be dying around this nigga. Like there's a lot of deaths.
That's
There's a
yeah.
lot of
There's a
mysterious ass
lot
deaths, and I
of
think that
death.
people do not recognize there's deaths that we know, and then there's deaths from like the bouncer that we don't know. Like there's a lot of deaths around this nigga. People were scared.
Right. Wait, they just casually mentioned someone getting shot and then moved on to the. I was like, who was
In
that?
the bathroom.
Where's that man? Is he okay?
And he was like, I don't know what happened to him.
Like
The
he
police
had
came.
pictures
It was
of the bathroom. I was like, who is that? Who should we know who
and then,
that person was?
and he was
Sounds
like, I
important.
don't know who that person is. The next day, the police came, and all of a sudden, everything that I saw, I was told didn't happen. Imagine gaslighting people on such a level that the police, law enforcement, government officials, fucking coroners were changing autopsies.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like
That's wild. That's
people were scared. There was nothing that anybody could have done and felt like. And then there's something that Lil Rod, I think it was Lil Rod. Yeah, Lil Rod also said was that what he was doing, he was like, it would pay my bills, it would pay my family's bills, my grandkids. Like this is generational.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking people, especially back then, you're asking people to sacrifice their literal lives and their livelihoods. What's his name? Kirk Burrows, his former partner that started Bad Boy with him. He
Yeah.
was homeless, living in shelters because he was blackballed. Diddy had enough power to be like, don't hire this nigga, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the or is, what comes after or, but he was homeless. That's people talk about how he was able to get Wendy Williams fired off of New York radio and she had to go to Philly. What do you think he said to the people who had the power to fire her? They're like, oh, he said that he said that they weren't going to play Bad Boy on the radio anymore. You think that he would do that given how much
In New
you
York,
think he
yeah.
would in New York he would say, oh, you can't. No, he did some other shit
Mm.
in order to get those people to be like, all right, we can't hire her. Like it's mobster shit. People are looking
Yeah,
at
it's
like gangster. It's
mobster.
mobster shit.
I think you said. Did you say that on your TikTok last night?
Hmm.
That was the first time that I heard it said so plainly, and that was the difference for me. Like someone, when I was talking with my barber said like, "Oh, he's crazy. He's just crazy. He's a psychopath," and I was like, "That isn't it. Like that's not just it. That's probably some of it. Like that's not it. It was like, oh, he's a gangster. Like no, gangster doesn't
Mobster.
seem like there's enough support behind a gangster. Like a gangster seems individual. He's
Hmm.
a mobster." And but the thing is, with a mobster, you have to be with other mobsters. Like you can't be a solo mobster,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, you're just a gangster. You're a criminal. So I said this in one of my group chats to my boy I talked about on here before, Brandon. Brandon's a young guy. He's not to say young. He's a pure millennial. Like he might be like 38, 39ish, 37. And and they were trying to like intellectualize. That's what these young people do. They try to like intellectualize everything. They so fucking smart.
Smarty arty ass niggas.
Smarty. He was like, "Oh, society is what the word he used? He said infantilized. They've infantilized Diddy and men like him so that they think they could." I was like, "Nigga, shut up," because he's not wrong. Yeah, and I already gave him his props. He's not wrong. He's right, and also right because this is what he was responding to when I said that he had to learn this behavior from somewhere.
Yeah.
He had to see it done. It had to be what's the word? It had to be rewarded. He had to have seen this behavior be rewarded and successful for at least 10 other people before he was like, "Oh, I can do that. I have the skill set to do that."
He had to have helped other people do it in
Hide
order
the
to know how
bodies.
it's done. Yeah, he'd had to
Absolutely.
hide the bodies in order to know who, because you can't just walk into like the mayor's office and be like, "Who wants a bribe?"
Right.
Who's gonna take some money to help me
Right.
do some wild shit? No, like there's a network that's created that he didn't start it, but he learned from somebody. He learned from a group of people, and I think that a lot of what the documentary, sorry, my Nigeria just jumps out
The
sometimes, but a lot of
documentary.
photographer. But a lot of what it didn't show were things like that, where it's like it is a network, and it was still 50 is still 50. He still has to be careful. But while you were talking, the whole mobster thing. Do you remember also that was the rise of like of idolizing mobsters like John what's his name?
Gotti.
John
Yeah.
Gotti.
Hmm.
Everybody's watching Scarface back then.
Yeah. And Tony
It,
Soprano too. Like the
Tony
Sopranos.
Soprano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New
like
York, Jersey. Yeah.
romanticizing
Hmm.
and bringing um mobsters into the mainstream and uh minimizing the destruction and the harm that it does.
Yes.
Um, I
Yes.
saw a TikTok clip. It was ASAP Rocky, Lakeith Stanfield, and then two white actors that I don't know. I don't know any white actors, but they were talking about like, what's your favorite mobster movie?
Mm.
And they said Goodfellas, and the other white guy said like a Bronx Tale. Like they were doing that, and Lakeith said Menace to Society. And it's like, and
Yeah.
people in the comments were like, "Ah, that's not a. Why isn't it? Why
Yeah.
isn't Menace to Society a mobster movie, a
Yeah.
gangster movie,
Hmm.
and and let's say Get Shorty. That's not it. Whatever ones I just said. Like, why are those mobster
Considered.
movies
Yeah.
The Godfather and considered and exalted
Yeah.
because of the network and the chain and the way that power looks in those spheres.
Hmm.
Um, everything he did, like I am interested to know. I know Clive Davis is in that because he's in everything. I just can't prove it. It's Clive Davis. I can't prove it though.
Yeah.
Um, he's he learned it from somewhere. He
He
learned it
had
from
to.
somewhere.
So my question in the group, and just from initially watching the documentary, I was still like kind of like, dang, like again, like how you said, kind of sad, like geez, like my memories, like what do I do with this? Does it Is it absolving Diddy of his narcissism, antisocial, everything else by asking, how does racism and race play into all of this? Right? Like, how does, because I'm assuming, just based on the history of this country, that he didn't learn that from black people. Like, he didn't
Mhm,
learn how to manipulate and extort and bribe and be this character from white people. I absolutely believe that Clive Davis, Leor Cohen, who I always thought that Leor, the way that he was presented to us, we don't know him, we don't know much about him, but the way that he was presented to us as this shrewd businessman was similar to how Dame Dash and how Puffy were presented to us. And that's
mhm,
why it was so cool. It
mhm,
was like, Leor, like, oh man, he was around when Beastie Boys came out. Like, he was a part of Def Jam. Like, he's that cool Jewish kid from the neighborhood that everybody loves, that's down with the crew. You know what I'm saying? And Diddy was squarely in that circle, right?
mhm.
Like, squarely around all of those people, but they're able to live their life, and no one's questioning whether or not they were beating people or what. Again, it's wrong what Diddy did, and also, is there any accountability for where he learned this from and who he got access from to enter these places, right?
So two things. I think that obviously he learned it from somewhere. Obviously that. But where I have to counter is that he benefited from being black. He got away with this because not only was he black, but he was black famous in a way that
Mm-hmm.
why would ABC care what what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
but he was
Mm-hmm.
huge for us. Like, so all the things that would be
Yeah.
investigated back then in order to see a direct connection is not possible. And now, and again, something that I did say when all this happened, I was like, who stopped protecting Diddy? Like, who decided he was expendable now? Not to take away from, because he still did the shit. He
Yeah.
still did the shit, but he got away with it for so long
Yep.
because of some machinations. Who was doing that? And what happened that made it stop? And that's where even 50's influence stops. Like 50's able to get like the CCTV footage from
Mm-hmm.
87, and he's able to like get the foot on
Literally.
the hotel footage and like all this never before seen because he's got the money to do that. But there are still things that he 50 knows that he it wasn't a one man operation. Everybody
Right.
knows that the record industry from the very beginning was funded by mob money. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. But
Right.
people also know that it's not safe to make those connections. Like as people always say, I saw people say that because Mace got away, they're like, oh, Diddy knows who not to fuck with. So
Mm.
does 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
50
Yeah. Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
who not to fuck with. 50 knows that this is when he can make this documentary, not back then,
Mm.
because he's known shit for this whole like he tried to take me shopping thing, which is come on, 50. That's not
Yeah.
the reason.
Right.
That's
That's not
not
the reason.
why.
Come on. Come on.
His baby mama, that's not why either. There's another reason that he knows enough not to bring to the public square. And I think it has a lot to do with Chris Lighty, and I think it has a lot to do with Shakir Stewart. More names of people
Mm.
around him that suddenly died or suddenly murdered themselves, suddenly, committed
Yeah.
suicide. Like,
I forgot about Chris Lighty.
yeah.
Yeah. Dang. And Harrell, Andre Harrell died too, right? Like Andre Harrell?
Andre Harrell is dead.
Yeah.
Heavy D is dead.
Heavy
Black
D.
Rob is dead. Craig
Craig
Mack
Mack.
is dead, and Craig Mack had a thing in Vegas. Like he was, I think they said in the doc that he was trying to go to not Bad Boy.
Death Row.
What's the Death Row or something. I was in and out at certain points because I was like, my heart can't take this. Like this is, I don't want to see Pac murdered. I don't want to see Biggie. Like this is too much for me. Um, but I think that, and I need to go and like look at the timeline, but I think that that's when Craig Mack started like his decline when all that was happening. Um,
Mm.
Kim Porter's dead. Mad people die of pneumonia around
Kim
him.
Porter. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm blanking, but there is a long list of people
Yeah. And
who
Albert
have
Shorter just
died
died.
under certain conditions around him.
Yeah.
Conditions that are easily changeable by by a coroner. You can say pneumonia if it's poison. Like you know what I'm saying? Like there are
Mm.
a lot of people died of pneumonia around this nigga. So yeah, so
Hmm.
he definitely had help. He definitely learned it from somebody. I wish we were in a position as a society to like if we're gonna get him out of here, let's get them all out of here. But people know that they can't do that. So it's easy to like say, it's him. It's him and the people who enabled him. Yes. But where did this all come from? This little Harlem, it is not able to like know how to run a city.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I was watching a Breakfast Club clip this morning of Joanne Reed, who was on there yesterday, and she said that to tie it to modern day or to current even more, she used to always call Trump the
Hmm.
puff daddy of politics. You see that? And I
Hmm.
had never
Hmm.
heard it that way, but I've been saying from the very beginning, or for a while now, that Trump is just like the representation of what hip hop gangster was, or the
Hmm.
hip hop gangster was mimicking the reputation that Trump had in New York in the 90s, right?
Hmm.
And so I feel like on some level there is a parallel existence between Puff and Trump, and they've talked kindly about each other publicly. um and if this little black boy from Harlem was doing all this crazy shit a lot of it which is on camera, you have to assume that President Trump, who's accused of a lot of the same shit, if not worse, is doing and has done the same shit as well. Because there seems to be a prototype of men that are in these kinds of positions that I think there needs to be some further exploration into where all these bodies are buried. You know, who and what money is tied to their existence,
The
and
Hudson River is filled with
full
bodies.
full.
The Hudson River. Do you know why there are no garbage disposals in New York? Have you noticed that there are no garbage disposals?
Hmm. I've never noticed that
I
until you
noticed
mentioned
it.
that.
I noticed it when I lived there. I was like, where? Because I house set a set sit house sat for a friend of mine who was like the heir to like the pool table felts, like
What?
money, like old money, like his great great grandfather invented pool tables or some shit like that. And he
Wow.
lived in in like a penthouse in Union Square, two-story penthouse,
Wow.
huge, whole like
Oh
the
my
kind where the
god.
elevator opens to your apartment, like that's that kind of shit.
Jeez. Yeah.
And I remember like I was there for like a week, like watched like feeding their cats and shit. And I was like, even because I was like, my little Brooklyn apartment doesn't have what you call it, a
Garbage
garbage
disposal.
disposal. Why doesn't this
Mm-hmm.
penthouse have a garbage disposal? And so I was like, because I'm fucking mobsters, fucking like grinding people's fingers in a garbage disposal.
Wow.
That's how much the mob ran the city, where they had to do like they had to like, okay, we have to like not have
Right. No.
trash compactors in people's buildings. Like they had to work around the mob.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh man, I think let's stop right here, boss. I think this is good. This gives us. We still have like like we've only really
So
we
much.
haven't really gone into the documentary for real. We're just talking about like how important, not important, notable, notorious, for lack of a better word, Biggie or
Notorious.
Puffy was in the 90s. We haven't really even gone into the 2000s, and we can say like the blueprint for making the band is what they use for The Voice, what they use for American Idol, what they use for
Mhm.
like all, there's so many impacts on the culture. Puffy's the reason why I ran a marathon. Like, come on, like what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yeah,
just
I remember
so
that.
much impact.
I
Yeah,
remember him. I remember
Puffy
the
runs
him
the
training for
city.
the yeah. Vote or die, which
Vote
is
or
like
die. Come
ominous as
on.
fuck right now. Like right now, we're like, wait, hold on, wait, like
That shit might work. Like we need to make that a campaign again. Oh man, this is good. This is really good. I
yeah.
enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. Um as we always say, please, download, not download, please subscribe. Find our content. Welcome. We are the Idea Pod on Twitter and X and TikTok. And keep finding the truth in the chaos, the clarity in the culture, and the joy in the journey. And we'll holla at you next week.
Bye.
Peace.